Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Patreon episode. We are a little bit late today. I apologize for that. We're about 24 hours late. I'm here with the Latin Ben Avery in Miami. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I know that it's difficult to move around the city here. It's Art Basel, which is an art festival in Miami populated by criminals and delusional people that are being described as visionaries. When I walk into an event, people go, "You got to meet Kelly. She's a visionary." And I'm like, what does that entail? And not much. There's, literally what Art Basel is, people, rich kids doing cocaine, going in and out of clubs in Miami. And then there'll be like a street art exhibit. There'll be like a guy spray painting something, and then everybody claps because they're on cocaine. And they're like, look at this. We're really a part of something. It's just a theme. Miami likes a theme, They're like, we could do drugs every day, but why not, for at least 2 days, have a little bit of a theme? And there's some cool art exhibits for sure. There's some cool shit going on, but a lot of it's reaching. And I'm down here. I did the Bitcoin conference here, and everybody remembers that when I had the Winklevoss twins and Jake Paul. And we did a conference in the Miami Convention Center, but it wasn't the real convention center. It's one of the, the ones that the crypto community took over. And, we sat there and discussed Bitcoin, or tried to, for an hour. And I was hired, they paid me a Bitcoin. They said, come down here. We'll give you a Bitcoin. We like you. And, the crypto community, some of them have a sense of humor. Many of them do not. And when you poke fun at Bitcoin or you poke fun at NFTs, because whether it's the future or not, it's funny and it's a bit absurd. And if you're a comedian and somebody says this pixelated photo of a dog is worth $1 million, and that's not some type of statement about the economy, something's not. You can't not chuckle. How do you not smile at that?
Let's do that.
How do you not imagine saying that to someone with a job? How do you not imagine going to, a town in the coal mines or wherever, in Pennsylvania, and sitting a guy down and explaining to him what the new economy even is? Remember when the economy at least made sense? Like you would go to these people and you go, the factory jobs are over. You got to go back to school because the jobs are going to be in science and tech. They're going to be in healthcare. But now they're pictures of dogs on the internet. So that's funny to me. It's funny that it doesn't even make sense anymore. Like, you used to be able to go to people and go, guys, in order to compete in the new economy, you're going to have to forget about working with your hands. There was a great folk singer named John Gawka, and he has a song where one of the lyrics is, too many software hands in the hardware store. And that was what that was the pitch to people back then. NAFTA fucked you. Labor costs go, labor jobs go to where labor costs are cheaper, which is not America. It's, Mexico, it's India, it's the Philippines, wherever. And there was a through line to that. Now, whether you agree with that or disagree with it, or whether you think that globalization was the worst thing to ever happen or whatever, we're not litigating that right now. It made a little sense. It was a tough, hard pill to swallow, but at least there was a through line that was somewhat logical. You could go, listen, you can't make a shirt anymore for $30 an hour. It's not going to work. Factories are moving out of this country, and they're going to places where they can pay people cents on the dollar to do your exact job, and or your job is being replaced by a computer, a machine, artificial intelligence eventually. There was some through line there where you could, I imagine you had, politicians or whoever, making these points and, these points were, again, not well received by people, but you could explain. How do you explain the pixelated dog to people? How do you explain that? How do you explain the NFTs to people? It's funny. It's funny to me to have to explain that to people and go, well, here's the next thing. In fact, AI can do a lot of the jobs we thought you were going to do in tech and healthcare. So the next evolution of the economy is here's a photo of a GIF that you can own. And I don't know why you would or why you care. And it can be reproduced, but you own it. But other people can share it and reproduce it. And I can already tell that people are getting mad at me on the episode. You don't understand it. There's already people right now foaming at the mouth, angry at me for just talking. No, you a fucking idiot. He's so funny, but he's so dumb. You can tell they're drunk. And I know it's a legitimate business. I know it is because Gary Vee is involved. And I went to his party last night, and one of his friends let me in. And I again, I have no problem with Gary. He made fun of some of the advice he's given because it's absurd. But as a dude, I think he's probably a cool dude. He's got a family. He's a good dude. From what I hear, the people that work for him like him. If I met him, be like, hey, man, how are you? I think he has a sense of humor. They did let me into his party that Marshmello was DJing, which was nice. I was wondering if I was going to meet him, if he was going to descend from the ceiling. Like if Marshmello was, he's the DJ with the marshmallow head. If he was going to take off his mask, and then all of a sudden, Gary Vee, it's Gary Vee. But we were looking for Gary Vee, like we were, the whole night I was kind of like, where is Gary Vee? Trap rappers are getting NFTs by Latin Ben Avery. So of course, everybody's getting into it. And I'm not against a good scam. I think we need it. The country is based on a good scam. And I'm not even saying that NFTs don't have like a legit long-term, because the Paul brothers have explained to me it's the future of digital art, and maybe they're right. I'm just saying, in the moment, in the now, there's an element of humor explaining to somebody that works for a living, that pushes a broom across a floor, that fries an egg, that drives a car, that works in a factory, that does something real, tangible, somebody that takes your blood pressure, somebody, an EMT that loads you in an ambulance, somebody that, cleans the schools your kids are going to be learning in. There's something funny about explaining to them what a non-fungible token is. There's something interesting about it for sure. I'm down here because I want to know more. I sold an NFT of me as Meghan McCain for, I believe, 3 Ethereum. I'm in the game here. I'm in the game because, like many things in the world, a good scam, we're all going to have to get involved eventually. And the scam will become real, like the American economy. The Afghanistan war was a fun scam that 21 years later, these things don't just go away. So if you're thinking that, like, me shitting on this or questioning it is a way to knock it down, I am involved.
Keep right.
I may be on the board of an NFT company by tonight. So don't call me a hypocrite. I'm just saying it's an interesting evolution of the American economy that we're selling each other pixelated puppies back and forth online. And I know that it's not just that, but one of my friend's sisters is selling pixel pups and doing pretty well with it. And I know it's not a liquid market, it's a crypto market, and I get it to a degree. Now, you should have an expert on. You can hear the people listening to this. Why doesn't he just have an expert on? He doesn't know what he's talking about. And you're probably right.
And then exit.
But do you? Nobody knew what these things were before a year ago, or very few of us did.
Exit. Right.
And NFTs now, there's a lot of NFT events all over Miami.
Reroute.
And the crypto community is not
Never
the
mind.
sexiest community.
I'll find a new
So there's a lot of models here. Like my friend Jack is an actor, and last night we're going to all these different parties, and all the model parties, Jack gets in because he's hot, and they go, oh, come in, and then I get in because I'm with him. But all the crypto parties and the Gary Vee stuff, I get in, and then he gets in because he's with me, because these people have like seen the wallet video, or they are fans of the podcast, and it seems to be, we went to some Hublot event, which was like a watch company, and I have buddies down here that are actors. They're trying to get deals with like brands, which I could never, I obviously, there's a myriad of reasons that I would never have a deal with a brand. I've tried with DXL, the fat store. I've tried to get an endorsement, whatever, and we can't do it because my brand, I think, is too toxic for DXL. I've tried with Hotel Tonight, but the brands that advertise on the podcast are brands that are okay with comedy, which is, there's very few of them now. So they like young, good-looking actors who don't really have opinions, who don't say anything, who don't ruffle feathers, who don't bother anybody. They go, put my watch on, stare into the camera, take a few shots, and then people are going to want to put a watch on after they've looked at you. So that's what a lot of people are down here doing. There's a lot of models down here, positioning themselves to be, I don't know the hope here is there's a lot of people, and there's hope, and I don't know what it is, but I imagine it's to better yourself in whatever you're doing. There's artists that have big exhibitions, and maybe the hope is that some brand sees you, like Chobani is down here, and they see your art, and they're like, what would be great if like Chobani were to like be more urban. If they're like, Chobani feels like we're losing the urban market, and we need some fun street art to compete with other Greek yogurt companies, because we don't want to just be for soccer moms and their kids with little tummy problems. We want the hood. And how do we get them? So Chobani's down here trying to have a meeting with Offset to try to thug out the yogurt. Thug it out, bitch. It's, and then you have Migos talking about probiotics. Be like, that shit, my stomach feel good. I don't know. I think that's kind of what goes on here. It's a weird intersection of art and commerce, which is what Miami is. And I call that intersection crime. Art, commerce. In the middle of that is crime, criminals. People whose job it is to take things from artists and give them to businesses. And artists, in many cases, need the things they make to con artists. That's great. My Latin Ben Avery. Maybe we'll just get rid of Ben. Whites are done. But he's right. Con artists, the word is in it. And artists here's the deal, you need somebody from the business world to come and tell you how to do things. And everybody wants a brand deal. Everybody's looking to just get out there and go, hey man, I'm ready. And I'm having meetings with all these, I love to have lunch. So I go to lunch with all these tech people, and then I gotta sometimes make fun of them a little bit. And sometimes they like that, and they don't mind that. And I never make fun of them as people. I just make fun of like what they say and what they believe and kind of who they are. But everything else is fine. But it's, again, people make fun of me. It's not disrespectful as much as it is my job. It's a weird job to have, where my job is to be down here to make fun of things and shit on things. That doesn't mean that there's not some value to a lot of what's going on down here, but there isn't, also. There's not much. But value is where you find it. And like my friend last night introduced me to this guy, black gay guy, really good looking, from Barbados. He's like a model scout. And he's just, it's very interesting, that whole world of like And you start thinking about Maxwell and Epstein, like, sexual currency, is what so many businesses in America run on. Up until recently, when they just decided that everyone's sexy no matter what, which is why I am down here looking for brand deals now. Because if you can be fat and on the cover of magazines, let's go. But when I grew up, that wasn't allowed. You had to be sexy to be sexy. Back when I grew up, people had to want to fuck you. But now they don't. They kind of fuck you as a social experiment, which I am for. I am for that. It benefits me. People kind of go, yeah, I gotta fuck you. It's the right thing to do. And I'm like, it is. And that's fat activism. But the reality is, listen, Ghislaine and Jeffrey, let me just say that what they did was wrong. Let's throw that out there. That being said, all these kids, and some of them are certainly kids, and a lot of them are teenagers that got caught up in this sex ring that Ghislaine and Jeffrey had. What I mean to say here is that it isn't that different from the way that beauty and youth is exploited in this country. It's exploited in a few different ways. And the way that Jeffrey and Ghislaine did it clearly is the most base level, harmful, inexcusable, indefendable way to do it. But when you look around at cities like Miami, in the way that, like, there's a lot of young, good-looking people selling how they look. And this is all over the world. And this is not new. And this is not something that really people have a problem with. Obviously, human trafficking's a problem. But when you look at, like, what modeling is, what acting is, to a degree, there's an element of human trafficking that you're trafficking yourself, perhaps, and you want to get trafficked. Your goal is to get trafficked. Listen, I've always made this point. Some of the women, when Epstein got killed, were like, yeah, fuck you, burn in hell. Some of them were like, I'm out of a job. Okay? Because not everybody wants to work at the Gap. Not everybody wants to work at the Gap. And if I was 18 and you told me I could turn tricks and sit on the face of senators, or I could work at the Gap, I would do the former. I've never had the body that I could sell. I've always wanted to. Prostitution to me makes a lot of sense. And I always wish I could be, that's why I'm trying to get in better shape so I can sell myself. There's something very deeply satisfying about selling yourself. And I'm sure that it has negative effects too, the whole, sex worker debate. But I've told friends, and I've mentioned it on the show before, that they should go into prostitution, and they get angry at me, and I say it seriously, and I go, I'm complimenting you. I'm telling you, you should have sex with people for money and gifts. And they go, I don't like that. That demeans me. And I go, no, it doesn't. I'm just saying, you're telling me that you want to go back to school. I'm telling you the more realistic route for you is to have sex with people for money. And then eventually marry one. Sex workers in the metaverse. Is that happening? Is that a new thing? Sex workers are being paid in crypto. Yeah, as they should be. As they should be. I mean, that's the thing. Eventually they'll all be probably robots, and much of it's porn anyway now. A lot of it's like OnlyFans. But again, it's the evolution of all those things. So you look at, the whole world down here, young, attractive people trying to get paid on the basis of that. And at least it's real, right? I mean, they're attractive. They're objectively attractive. That's something real. And then what's interesting is, like, you get into this NFT world and the world of crypto, and you feel like you've left the planet. Like, you feel like you've taken a spaceship to another planet and you're looking around, like I'm looking around on another planet talking to people, and then there are the people that are true believers. I mean, this is their religion now. Then there are people who are like on the fence, kind of like me, but have no strong feeling either way. Like, could this be the biggest crash we've ever seen? Yeah. Could it also just like limp along and then become an institutionalized part of society? Sure. Is Bitcoin the future? Is it going to make everything more free and less totalitarian? Is it going to help everything online decentralized? Will it stop people from getting deplatformed? Will it stop tech oligopolies from running things? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have a real hard opinion on that, other than I'm waiting and watching and seeing what happens. But when you talk to these people, they do believe that. The true believers are 100% dedicated to the idea that the implementation of Bitcoin, the success of Bitcoin, is directly correlated to more freedom, which is a very interesting idea. It is not controlled by a central government. You cannot print more of it to finance wars, to, pay off the Catholic Church, whatever. Pay off the victims of the Catholic Church. You have to, the inherent value is that it is not regulated by an entity that can abuse it, or so its current, in its current manifestation. That's the understanding of it. It's a hedge against the currency that we have now. And this is what the true believers will tell you, that in the future, in this metaverse future, where all things are equal, or not all things are equal. It's a deeply libertarian idea, Bitcoin, I think, which is why a lot of people that are involved in it seem to be on that train, in terms of it is the Bitcoin maximalists and people like that are about more freedom and less centralized control. And that idea is beyond fascinating to me. I love that idea. It is an idea, I think, that has a lot of merit. And how true it ends up being is anybody's guess. And now people are mad again. No, it's going to be true, isn't it? But I'm in awe of it. And then, like everything else, it has its excesses, right? Not every coin's going to be a great coin. Not every NFT is going to be worth the money. My NFT is. I thought my NFT was going to sell for a lot more. I'm disappointed that we only did 3 Ethereum. That bothers me. I think maybe it was 5 Ethereum. That's my whole crypto portfolio, is, I believe, 5 Ethereum. Gamers will be war here. Yeah, gamers are going to be. I was reading about Minecraft the other day. I was fascinated by gaming. Is something that I missed the boat on. I played Super Mario Brothers, and then Donkey Kong, and then I discovered cocaine and drugs, and doing drugs with people and having fun. And so I missed the boat on, and I'm ignorant as to the level of complexity, the stories that are being told through video games. I was reading about the Dream Minecraft server and all these kids that are playing Minecraft, and the stories and the things they're doing are much more complex than I had imagined. And I've been dismissive of kind of gaming as like an adolescent fantasy world, which it is, but also I think that it's a lot more substantive than I had initially thought. And that's why people are making the money that they're making, and that these kids are brilliant. I mean, truly, the way that they've built this world, this digital world around this Minecraft game, the amount of money they're making, millions of kids watching it, it is much more like a live action role playing like movie or TV show than it is like a simple game. Yeah, they own property. Now, the Minecraft kids own property in the real world or in the metaverse. They own digital real estate. Yeah. No, go explain digital real estate to people that lost their jobs to China. Go explain to them that. Go explain digital real estate to people who've had real real estate repossessed. They've had real estate foreclosed on. Go, how about digital real estate? Let's try that. You know the house you had with your family that you couldn't pay for? How about a house in the metaverse? How about that? But it does seem like we're heading to this place, and it doesn't seem like there's much we can do about it. And I do feel a little ignorant. Like I had somebody tell me, my friend's little brother was like, you were so ignorant about gaming and how substantive it is. And they were correct about that. I'm not always right about things. I'm right 94, 95% of the time. But it's important to evolve. I'm 36. I'm going to be 37 in January. You know, you start getting older. You start to get to 40 and you start going like, hey man, there's a lot of boats that I've missed. And then there's some boats that I can still get on. Like the TikTok boat I kind of missed. People upload content on there that I do. I tried it for a few weeks and I went, I can't do it. I can't get into it. It's not for me. But of all the social media sites, TikTok is driving the culture more than any of the other sites. Instagram feels dead. Twitter is what it's always going to be, which is a gateway to hell. Facebook is a graveyard, of boomers. But TikTok, like it or not, its algorithm's addictive. Casey Neistat was telling me it's one of the most addictive algorithms he's ever seen. I mean, the way you can spend hours on it. Just go on it without leaving your bed. You're stuck for hours. TikTok seems to be driving the culture. And again, I'm completely not, I'm represented in the sense that people upload shit I do, but I have no attack plan for TikTok. I didn't build a following there. I don't know how to. It seems to require more work than I'm willing to do, and a type of work I don't know how to do, but I can do the work that I've done. So I do feel like eventually, now I know Whitney Cummings has some followers on there, I think, or maybe not. Maybe she's not even on TikTok, I don't know. But there is a pressure when you're in entertainment to be on every new thing, every new app. I was wrong about Clubhouse. I thought, do you know how many people in Miami are like, hey man, Clubhouse, and I just run the other way? Because of course Clubhouse is a collection of criminals, and many of them unsuccessful. Like criminals that, rob the bank and they have the dye on their hands and then they get caught by the cops. That's what Clubhouse is. Just unsuccessful digital criminals. People, like, there's whisper campaigns about everybody on Clubhouse, like, watch out for that guy. People would DM me, go, watch out for that guy. And then you're walking through the streets of Miami and somebody sees you and they go, yo, Dillon, Clubhouse. And I go, oh, cool, man. And I just keep running towards a Cuban sandwich and away from them, because I'll tell you right now, it is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying seeing these people from Clubhouse in real life. And it does feel like it's getting scarier now when you know someone primarily online and you see them in real life. Your first response is, ugh. Even if they're good looking or presentable, it's not even about that. It's something it's this relationship that you've crafted in this digital space that has now become real, and you're not ready for it. Like, you're unprepared. And when they just duck out of an alley and they're like, oh, Clubhouse. And I'm like, oh. It's like seeing a ghost. You're like, get back. Get out. Get away. But I thought Clubhouse was going to be right. And Andrew Schultz called me and he goes, you're fucking insane. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you. And let me say, hats off to Andrew Schultz. I have maybe never been more wrong. I blame it on the pandemic. I blame it on just losing my fucking mind. I believe that somehow this audio-only chat room app, Clubhouse, was going to be this massive cultural force. And then it just ended up being Eric Weinstein talking for 9 hours a day. And, you know, and God love him, but Clubhouse eventually, you know, I don't think anyone's on that anymore. Are you on it? No one's on it anymore, right? Nobody's on it anymore. I brought Rogan on it, and I remember it was this massive thing when I brought Joe on, and Joe went on for like 40 minutes, and there was this room of thousands of people and all these overflow rooms, because I think at that point there was 8,000 people allowed in the room. And we were all stuck in our houses. This idea of, you know, communicating with people, networking with people was interesting, and entertaining them remotely. Now that everybody's out, it's like, why did we ever think that had the infrastructure to keep being interesting when you were allowed out of the house? I don't know. It was a short-lived obsession for people, and I was wrong about that. And I tell Andrew that. I was like, I'm right about a lot of my predictions. That one I was absolutely 100% wrong. That is true, yeah. Clubhouse was, my producer here, my Latin Ben Avery just said it was a podcast with hecklers. That's exactly what it was. You're absolutely right. It was a podcast where you could invite somebody up to scream at you. That's exactly what Clubhouse was. And I remember like people were like, it's gonna replace podcasting. It's gonna replace the media. And I was like, I don't know what I was having, like maybe some neurological brain. Maybe I had like a brain tumor for that month, because I was like, maybe it will. I was like, maybe people are just gonna get interviewed on Clubhouse. And then I like sobered up. I don't know, maybe there was a gas leak in my rented house in Texas. But I'm here at Art Basel, and I'm enjoying it here. I like Miami a few days at a time. You know, the experience that you have in Miami is for the first hour you were in Miami, you go,
right,
I could live here.
And then exit right.
You rent your car, you get a BMW, and you drive really fast over the bridge, and it's so beautiful, and you go, I live here now. In your head, you mentally live there. When you drive that BMW over you go, I'm this is my future. You go, I'm living here. There's, you know. And then 3 hours later, you go, I don't ever want to be here again, and why am I here now? 7 hours later, you're having fun again, but you've detoxed from the idea that you can live there. You're like, I'm actually having a lot of fun, and this is silly. And it's a silly place, and it's fun. And then the next morning you wake up and you're like, maybe I live an hour away from here, like 45 minutes out. It's a weird progression. And then the next day you leave and you go, what am I thinking? But you're never not sold on Florida, because it's an amazing state and I love Florida. But this is the reaction many people have. Like, as soon as you get to Miami, it's warm, you smell the water, the ocean, the breeze, you go, I want to live here. And then you just start noticing things to traffic. You talk to a few people, you go, I can't do this. I don't even know why I'm here. And then later on that night, you get into it, you get into the groove, you're like, oh, this is fun. And then you go, oh yeah, this is a few weekends a year thing. Like everybody was saying Austin, Miami, and I was very vocal about it. We're going to be the cities of the future. And you know, the answer to that is like NFTs. Hey man, maybe. But as of right now, there's scant evidence to suggest that either Austin or Miami is going to ever be able to replace New York and LA. At the moment, there's no evidence to support that. Just like Ghislaine, there's no evidence to convict her. She's innocent. But Miami is a worldly city. It's a sexy city. Austin is neither of those things. One thing that that Austin has that Miami doesn't have is Texas has a work ethic that Miami does not. Miami has a play ethic that it's a party and it's fun. But I could see it, man. I could see having like Austin and Miami sometime in the future being like these decentralized mini tech hubs for sure. But as of right now, it's just a lot of coked out people trying to get something going like Balenciaga. Because like Balenciaga's doing some climate change thing with, the Saudi royal family. My producer goes, Miami's like, blow, good problem. It's true. Miami is like, you know, and I was a cocaine addict for years. Miami's the first few hours of the night before you start wondering how much you have left. If the dealer's around, can he spot you? Can you just drop me off another 8 ball? I'll pay you tomorrow. It's not a big deal. I just can't get to an ATM. My card doesn't work. My bank is fucking me. Miami is the first few hours of the night, absolutely. But I'm gonna bring on an expert. Perhaps maybe we'll do maybe I'll record again before I leave on Sunday or something. I want to try to bring on somebody that knows a lot more than I do about specifically NFTs. Because they seem to be, that is the hot commodity here in terms of talking, what people want to, that's the new, everybody's like getting involved in NFTs. This is it. Even more so than like, crypto is obviously hand in hand with NFTs, but like those are the 3 letters on everybody's mouth right now is NFT, non-fungible token. People are all about it. I'm gonna start making up, you know, for people that don't know who I am, I'm just gonna make up, like I'm gonna go today, I've decided I'm gonna go to Versace or something and spend a disgusting amount of money, thank you Patreon, on a very stupid, over-the-top outfit, like a crazy outfit, and then just walk around for the next 2 days and tell people I am an NFT lawyer and I litigate NFT disputes, and I have a corporate law firm that represents people in NFT disputes arising from NFTs. And when people ask me to elaborate on that, I will not. I will say I can't really go into it. But just know that we have a high-powered legal team seeking to arbitrate any and all disputes that arise from NFTs.
Keep left.
I'm going to be an NFT lawyer. I'm going to say I run a firm. Or I might say that I am an NFT broker. Is there an NFT dick pic? Not yet. Do you own any NFTs? No, I know it's easy, but do you own any? So you own 2. What do you own? You own the first joke on the blockchain. What's your logo? So you own a photo of a flamingo with sunglasses. How much? $300. Now, what is the first joke on the blockchain? I'm very curious about what that is. What is the joke? Here, say it.
The first joke on the blockchain by Manny Garavito is everyone claims to have a third eye, but it's really what you do with it. Because a fly has millions of eyes, but still manages to shoot.
That sounds like a Gary Vee quote. That sounds like if you pay Gary Vee money, it sounds like that would be like if you said, Gary, how do I start a business? That would be his quote back to you. Now, how much does it cost to own that bit? It's free? Yeah. So $300, you put it on there, but nobody's bought it. But are you sure that it's the first joke on the blockchain? You're pretty sure. The first one-liner. Okay. Now my NFT was just an image of me as Meghan McCain. And that, I believe, sold for 5 Ethereum, which was decent at the time. I thought it would do better. This is my whole crypto portfolio. I have 1 Bitcoin and I have 5 Ethereum. Now, what are the monkeys? When is it going to be? When are we going to get into like right-wing NFTs with like Kyle Rittenhouse running around with a gun? When does that? Because everybody knows everything eventually gets invaded by the QAnon moms. When do they get involved in NFTs? I mean, that's got to be coming, right? sold another NFT, I could say this comes with lifetime free tickets to the Tim Dillon show whenever I do it. Interesting. So you can attach other things to it. Yeah. It's crazy. You start your car with an NFT. Explain that. It could be anything. It's not just art. That's what I have to wrap my head around. It's contracts. The art is the quick way to look at it. But what it is just what's been going on forever. People making deals they may or may not honor. Right? So that's maybe what it is. It's just let's make a deal and maybe I honor it, maybe I don't. And here's a picture. And here's a photo. Yeah, I understood it more as digital art, but now I'm understanding it. Now I'm starting to talk to people in Miami going, hey man, it's not this bag of cocaine. That's an NFT. You know? This underage hooker, that's an NFT. Everything's an NFT. Everything's an NFT. This crate of illegal immigrants, that's an NFT. All these people that came over, these Taiwanese ladyboys stacked one on top of another in the port, that's an, no. I do know that there's real distinctions between what is and isn't an NFT, but it's not just pictures online. It doesn't just encompass one genre of things. There's more. We don't even know the capabilities of it. It feels like a scam when we say things like that. Doesn't it feel like a scam when you go, we don't even understand? Yes, I remember that. I remember that scam. He said, remember the scam of having gold and trading it for paper? I think it should not be dismissed at all. That's why I'm down here trying to figure it out. Hey, a lot of people said, like, I made the point on Rogan, they were like, don't smoke weed, don't play video games. The richest people in the world now are gamers and potheads that started weed companies. Like, the advice we got was all wrong. Our boomer parents gave us horrible advice. And everything that you dismiss as ridiculous will probably at one point be essential. And that's really, you might say, oh, nobody can make a living podcasting or being funny. They have to go to comedy clubs and tell jokes, which I still do. But like, you know, you have to have bookers and agents and managers, and all those people have to get in between them and their audience. They need TV executives, they need writers, they need lawyers, they need standards and practices and legal, they need, you know, makeup artists and lighting people and sound people. They need production engineers and big staffs and directors and editors. And then you go, well, no, some people can just be funny on their own and be interesting on their own or whatever. And then you don't need all of that. But then what do all those people do? You go, well, what is their job now? And that's a good question. NFTs. Follow the logic. But that is seemingly what we have happening here. If you dismiss something out of hand, like I did with gaming, I'm like, but then you look at it and you go, what those people are doing, they're creating an experience for people that is a layered, very immersive, interesting experience that art is failing to do. Movies suck. TV shows are bad right now, outside of a few of them. And so you look at like people that get really into gaming and you go, I wonder why. And then you go, oh, this experience is checking all the boxes that other art isn't checking. So for me to dismiss it and go, oh, it's not art or it's not a creative endeavor, it's kind of insane on my part. It makes me sound old, especially when, what is it competing with? You know, what are these, you know, they're competing with, you know, the least interesting, least provocative, least meaningful television and movies that we've ever seen right now. I mean, everything is spawn common right now. I mean, truly. I mean, you look for layered messages and complexities in these forms of art and you can't find them. And then you see these, you know, people, what they're doing with gaming, and it's inherently more interesting. So this is the Miami me. changed. Now it's changed. Where
Keep right.
if you're unknown now as an artist, it's your fault. It's a choice. You're choosing it, truly. And people hate when I say that. They don't like when I say that because they think that it's some type of it's not a judgment either. You don't have to be known. Do whatever you want. But if you are completely unknown, you should be known to someone. Somebody should know what you're doing right now if you're doing something creative. There's no reason why people shouldn't know what you're doing. And the reason that I'm down here talking to all the people and trying to figure out the world is I don't know the next iteration of what I'm going to have to do to get what I do out there to people. So if I can get smarter and figure out this landscape, that means that in the future, the show can continue to grow because I'm smart enough to put myself in the places where I can reach people that are younger, that may not be listening to the show right now. You know, I get messages from every now and then young people that listen to the show, and it really, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool that they're on that frequency, you know. Sometimes kids in their late teens or people in their early 20s that are really fans of the show, and that's great. How do I keep reaching them without Jeffrey and Ghislaine? How do I keep getting my show, you know, to a point where it's like my fan base doesn't just age out and die or go to jail for storming the Capitol. I'm able to keep bringing the stuff that I do, whether it's my videos or the stand-up or the podcast, to younger people. And this is the danger about being in Miami, because right now I feel like everything is possible. I don't feel like there are constraints on anything. And that's the danger about Miami. I don't think the rules matter. I don't think gravity applies. Why can't I jump off the hotel roof that I'm staying at and fly away like an NFT? Why can't I? COVID didn't exist in Miami, but you know what? It didn't. And that is the power of Miami. It's the power of the future. One day COVID will just be another NFT. One day the coronavirus will be an NFT. That's it. You know? It'll just go, because everything, we want to forget and also remember. Like, that's the thing about society. You need to forget, you need to move on, but you also want to remember. It's like a weird thing. You have this weird relationship with memory, and I think NFTs and things like that, we are a society, like, other than scams, we also like things. We like things that make us feel a certain way because that's who we are. We're a very commercialized group of people. And a lot of the experiences that we're looking for relate to a thing, whether it's digital or in the real world. And I don't think you'll ever truly beat that out of us as Americans. We're just hardwired to look for a thing. I want to own my little thing. And I'm ready. Statuses, yeah. No, I mean, the reason I like Miami as a city is because they thought Antifa was a designer. There's something nice about a city like that. There's something nice about a city like that. Truly. There's something nice about that. Are you going to the Antifa show? Can you get in? There's something nice about a city built on cocaine, built on the dreams of immigrants who came to this country, built on the idea that there is no scam that is big enough for Miami. There's no scam that Miami can't, get involved in. There's nothing too egregious to suggest that people should pay money for. There's something beautiful about that. There's something beautiful about a place that accepts our limitations as human beings and caters to them and tries to understand them on a deeper level and tries to, it doesn't suggest spiritual evolution at any moment, but other places do that, I guess that's why you go take shrooms in Sedona. But I met two guys on shrooms last night, and they said, we are big fans of Tim Dillon. And they were just walking down the street in Miami, drunk and on shrooms, completely missing any spiritual dimension of that drug. And I love that. I love the idea of taking psychedelics in a place like Miami, which is a psychedelic. Miami is a psychedelic. You can't get higher than just being here and listening to people talk. But these guys are taking shrooms. Shrooms will bring you down in Miami.
Get ready.
Psychedelics will bring you down. A tab of acid will make this place seem more realistic. And I appreciated that those two guys, and of course they're fans of me, you know, I mean, they're missing any spiritual dimension. They go into the, you know, they take that DMT and they cross over into, I forget what they call it, the, you know, that, you know, Terrence McKenna used to call it the Bardo, you know, the place between life and death or whatever. Some people call, I forget what Rogan called it in that fucking documentary, DMT, the spirit molecule. But, you know, you go into this place, this, whatever it is.
Get ready.
Miami is that place, except when you go there and the aliens start telling you what existence is, you say, shut the fuck up, and you start telling them about NFTs. That's the difference. Good night, everybody. Good luck. See you later.